Have you always wished you could swim like this? Well, you can. In fact, anyone can learn to swim with the grace and flow of the world's best swimmers. You don't need youth, strength, or special talent. All it takes is the total immersion method and patient, mindful practice. By swimming the TI way, you'll be able to swim long distances without tiring. Swim fast with a smooth, efficient stroke. Swim confidently in any body of water and enjoy every stroke you ever take. A total immersion freestyle is easy to recognize. You swim in perfect balance, supported by the water and slipping easily through it. You swim tall, fully extending your body line on each stroke. You stroke with powerful whole body rhythms, your strokes linked to body rotation. You work with the water, always in control and never struggling.
Hi, I'm Terry Laughlin, founder and head coach of Total Immersion, and this is Lake Minnewaska. From June to September, I swim here every chance I can. The beautiful setting and the chance to swim long distances without stopping make for a completely satisfying experience. What I love most about teaching is the chance to share experiences like that with swimmers like you. I enjoy every stroke I ever take, and I'd really like you to be able to feel that way about your swimming too. If you'd like to swim better than you ever thought possible, if you'd like to be able to swim any distance in any body of water, I promise this video will help you achieve that. So let's get started.
Mastering balance is the key to success in the TI drill sequence. You may find it easier to learn balance with a partner. We call this team learning. In team learning, the head coach provides support and assistance while the swimmer masters the positions and learns to relax. To start balance on your back, the head coach positions your head so water touches the corners of your goggles and your face is parallel to the surface. We call this hiding your head. As Toby toes, Jennifer starts kicking lightly, just flicking her feet upward and ruffling the surface. Listen to your kick. Quieter is more effective and more relaxing. When Susie sees that Joe's kick is relaxed and streamlined, she releases him but continues leading. Her draft helps Joe maintain a light, efficient kick. Resume towing if you see any hint of struggle. As Toby is towed, she memorizes her head position and the feeling of a long, clean body line to maintain that sensation after release. Practice tow and release repeatedly until you feel the same ease solo you feel while being towed. As you practice solo, focus mainly on keeping calm water at the corners of your goggles and lay back until your hips and legs feel light. Don't worry how far or fast you go. The goal is a kick as gentle and quiet as Catherine shows here. In sweet spot, balance should be even easier and your kick more effective. As Joe tows Susie, he makes sure her head is hidden and stable, then helps her rotate barely enough for the knuckles on her right hand to clear the water. Then he watches carefully for a relaxed kick and a long, clean line from head to toes. When he sees that Susie is balanced and at ease, they repeat on her right side. When you practice solo, focus on a long, straight body line with your legs inside your body cylinder. Continue to feel as if you're being towed and slipping through the smallest possible hole in the water. When you master balance on both sides, you can practice rotating from sweet spot to sweet spot, as Terry demonstrates in the endless pool. Rotate gently and without disturbing the water. You don't need much of a kick to swim efficiently, but a poor kick can make the drills more of a challenge than they should be. These exercises can improve your kick enough to drill smoothly. Towing helps you relax and keep your kick gentle and compact. This is far more effective than kicking harder. Try to feel the same after release as you did while being towed, even if for a short distance. This will help imprint the right habits. Patiently increase your solo drilling bit by bit. Learning to relax is far more important than kicking hard or fast. Vertical kicking improves your efficiency by teaching you to kick from the top of your leg, like a pendulum. This increases propulsion and reduces drag. Stand tall and kick with a long, supple leg. Lengthen your leg from hip to toe and keep your kick compact. A tight, steady kick like Catherine's takes less energy than a wide, slower one. You can scull your outstretched hands for support as you learn the position. As your kick improves, fold your arms as Joe does. The most important role of your kick is to help rotate your body. Improve your feel for this by practicing quarter rotations every few seconds. If you feel vertical kick is helping your efficiency, it's helpful to start back balance or sweet spot with a bit of vertical kick, then lay back into position as Catherine does here. In our next drill, Lengthen Your Vessel, you'll learn that you move faster and more easily with a longer body line. With Toby towing, Jennifer rotates to sweet spot, pauses to check her balance, then sneaks her lower arm forward, making her body line longer and more slippery. Susie checks Joe's head-spine alignment, then begins towing on his hand to emphasize the long vessel feeling. She also positions his hand just below the surface. Joe balances effortlessly because he lays back with his head hidden. He also extends his body line from fingertips to toes to slip through the smallest possible space in the water. After release, use the lightest kick to keep moving, keeping your feet inside the same space your body traveled through. Take the time to be comfortable and slippery on both sides before moving to the next drill. As Jennifer demonstrates, it's a relaxed kick and a sleek body line, not effort, that make the difference. We call this the fish drill because, just as fish do, you'll move through the water in a perfectly balanced, fish-like shape, leading with your head. Fish drill will also teach you to breathe by rolling your whole body to the air. Toby supports Jennifer's feet as she rotates to a nose-down position for the first time. Jennifer remains there a moment to memorize her position, then rolls back up to sweet spot to breathe. Then she returns to the fish position, ready to be launched. After launch, focus on slipping through the smallest space in the water. Roll all the way back to sweet spot to breathe. Then do another full cycle on your own before stopping. On your second try, your partner should check your head position and side balance, as Jennifer does for Toby. This is precisely the same head position you'll use from now on. As Catherine shows in a switch drill, and Terry shows while swimming. Fish drill is the easiest place to learn this essential skill. When you feel balanced and slippery, practice solo. Roll cleanly and easily from nose up to nose down and back again. If you can make this effortless on both sides, you'll breathe more easily on either side while swimming. Once again, focus your practice on the kind of balance and ease that Joe shows here. It's an easy transition from fish to our skating drill, which teaches you how balance will feel when swimming and how to stay long and balanced while breathing. Start in the fish position. Then extend your lower arm so your hand is below your head. Can you see how Jennifer's balance improves with her arm extended below her head? Also, notice that her head is right where it was in fish. To breathe, roll back to sweet spot. Stay long and sleek as you roll all the way to where you can breathe with ease. Breathe deep and slow before you return to fish position. You can also start in sweet spot. Notice how Susie draws Joe's hand down and forward to improve his balance as she launches him. Think of the line along the bottom of your body as 3 o'clock. If you balance effortlessly, like Susie, you can position your hand at 3 o'clock. Then, flex your wrists so your fingertips point down. Because Joe is quite lean with long legs, he angles his arm to 4 o'clock. Any swimmer who really struggles with balance or her kick should point her arm to 4:30 or even 5 o'clock. When swimming, you'll extend your hand to the same position you imprinted during this drill. Be patient in getting these positions right. Attention to detail will make all the difference in how comfortable you feel in advanced drills and swimming. You'll learn faster if you and a friend coach each other in practice, just as Joe helps Susie in a lap pool and Terry assists Fiona in an endless pool. Plan to practice skating drill for as long as you swim. The more you practice it, the more balanced and slippery your swimming will be. This is a good place to put your skills to the test. Start from balance and skating position, as Catherine does here, then add a few strokes. Maintain your head position, reach your hand to the same spot, and feel the same balance. After 3 or 4 strokes, stand up, catch your breath, and do it again. This will give you a preview of your new stroke. Our first lesson taught you balance and slippery positions. Underswitch drills will help you create effortless propulsion by connecting your arm stroke to the power of body roll. This skating variation reinforces balance and slippery positions as it teaches you recovery timing that helps you swim taller. After balancing in skating position, sneak your rear hand and see it under your nose. You should probably complete 4 or 5 cycles in 25 yards. Here Joe gives a great demonstration in how to slip through the water like an arrow through the air. His skating position is perfect as he looks at his hand. Pause here to check that you're still balanced in skating position, then return your hand to your side. Notice how Jennifer bubbles out from her nose while looking down. She could make her position even better by turning her left palm down and angling her fingertips toward the bottom. From overhead, you can see how Terry rolls back and forth cleanly like a log, how he breathes deeply in sweet spot, and how he stays poised on his side as his hand comes forward. Mastering this will help you imprint timing for underswitch, our next drill. Underswitch is your first opportunity to link your arm stroke to body rotation for effortless power. It also teaches you the switch timing that helps you stay tall as you stroke. Joe stays just as slippery while switching as he was while skating. In slow motion, you can see the timing imprinted in underskate triggers the switch here. When Joe's right hand passes his head, his right hip drives down, which drives his left hand back. That's how you link the stroke to core muscle for propulsive power. Jennifer has mastered the timing. Her next skill will be to learn a firmer position for holding the water with the lead arm. Here, Ian shows you something that may happen to you. After he switches, he's still not in position to breathe. He's patient enough to keep his head in line and wait for his body to rebalance, then he can breathe. As Joe demonstrates, one way to fix that is to make your switch crisp and smooth, taking your belly button to the air. Finish right to sweet spot and you'll breathe more easily. Now that you've felt the power of whole body movement, we'll bring swimming rhythms to that movement. In double underswitch, you add rhythmic rotation, but still have leisure and sweet spot to plan your movements. Here, Susie shows us the key skills in this step. She looks directly down while switching, keeping her head right in line with her spine. She uses stroke timing that always keeps one hand in front of her head. Susie could improve by positioning her lead hand a bit deeper before the switch. The key things to observe in Joe's practice are how relaxed and fluid he is, all while staying long and sleek. Jennifer has only just learned this drill, yet she displays a wonderful grace and economy in her movements. If you're a novice, aim to move with this kind of ease. Toby, also a novice, holds her head a bit high, but has really mastered the switch timing. Watching Terry from overhead, you can see the arms working in sync with body rotation. Double under is the perfect place to imprint this. Triple underswitch is simple. Once you feel relaxed and comfortable, just add another switch before pausing in sweet spot. The extra switch allows you more opportunity to make key skills into habits. Each of our swimmers displays some of these valuable habits. Terry shows a flowing, unbroken rhythm. He doesn't hurry, but he never stops rotating until he pauses in sweet spot. Ian really hugs the surface with water flowing over the back of his head throughout his switches. Susie is a master of timing. She switches at the same moment every time. As in his other drills, Joe is about as slippery as you can be. You might say he pierces the water, even as he sneaks his arm and switches. Susie shows how to relax your legs, which saves energy for longer swims. Pause your kick while switching, then pick it up again, gently, in sweet spot. Terry shows that you can improve your rhythm by rolling a bit less during your switches. Now is the best time to learn to solidly anchor your hand. When Joe sees his hand, he flexes his wrist to turn the other hand and forearm into a lever for holding the water. Susie also anchors her hand and feels the water resisted before stroking. As you practice these skills in triple underswitch, focus on just one at a time. After you've mastered triple under, you might have a little fun with underwater freestyle, if you can do it as Joe demonstrates here. It's a simple way to make a long, sleek body line and whole body rotation a habit. Start with a deeper push-off than usual. The extra water resistance will make you more aware of keeping your head in line, extending fully, and rotating to slip through the smallest space. This is also a good exercise for improving your sense of balance. Underwater freestyle will definitely teach you more about finding the easiest way to move through the water. Zipper drills are the most transforming part of the entire TI drill sequence. They improve your balance and teach valuable stroke habits, especially a compact recovery, which is essential for efficiency. You can rehearse the next step with a dryland exercise. Begin as Catherine does, then slowly drag your thumb along your breastbone to your ear, as if pulling a zipper up your side. Lead with your elbow for as long as possible. Here, Terry demonstrates how a partner can check your head position and help you lead with your elbow so your forearm hangs like a marionette. Then wag it gently to check for complete relaxation. Practice on both sides and keep the arm alongside your body. You can even practice a switch as you go from one side to the other. Finally, pump your completely relaxed forearm up and down to rehearse a movement we'll do in the water next. Zipper skate will be the most valuable balance and body position drill you'll ever do because it teaches you how to lay on your lungs. With that feeling, you'll swim and drill better than ever. Joe shows here how critical it is to make sure your head and lead hand are correctly positioned before you start the zipper movement. With that foundation, he's perfectly stable, even with his arm poised overhead. Also, notice that he keeps his hand completely underwater and his arm alongside, not above, his rib cage. Jennifer's a bit of a sinker, but as long as she keeps that lead hand at 5 o'clock, she'll sink in equilibrium with hips and shoulders even, a valuable balance lesson. Ian also sinks a bit, but because he stays balanced, he has great control. Can you be so relaxed that the water flexes your hand back, as Ian shows? When you feel great balance, pump your arm alongside your ear as Joe demonstrates. This will imprint where you'll make the switch in our next drill. Practice until you feel as if you can glide effortlessly like this. The more balance you feel, the better you'll swim. And here, Joe and Ian show the great value of using the TI team learning approach while practicing zipper skate. Here, Joe is pushing Ian gently along from behind the elbow. This heightens the feeling of having the elbow leading while allowing Ian to feel a completely effortless glide. Next, Ian helps Joe perfect his side balance position, which Joe maintains for a moment before doing one switch. When drilling solo or swimming, recall the balance and control you felt while doing this exercise. The balance and imprinting you practiced in zipper skate have paved the way for a precise, deft hand entry in zipper switch, starting with the arm pump practiced in zipper skate. Though Ian does sink a bit, his proper head and hand position give him the balance to do the pump and switch with ease and control. He pumps right alongside his ear, then switches at the same spot. When your entry point is consistent, you can switch without pumping, like this. Joe slices his hand down at his ear and right to his 4 o'clock position. Ian leads with his elbow and keeps his arm so relaxed his hand flexes back during recovery. He also hugs the surface, drilling as if trying to fit under a very low ceiling. Watching Terry in the endless pool gives you another look at where the hand slices down, right beside the ear, while the other arm is still outstretched. Watching underwater, you can see the switch timing. One arm entering triggers the other to begin its stroke. When you master this timing, your arms will feel like a powerful extension of your core body. As in double under, multi-zipper brings swimming rhythms to the movements you've just learned. As you can see, we're on the verge of actual swimming. Jennifer shows the basics of double zipper. She keeps her head hidden and slices her hands down to 4 o'clock. Joe keeps his hands wet and soft during recovery and always slices down right at his ear. With good balance and rhythm, you can do as many as 6 or 7 switches without becoming breathless. Notice how consistent the timing of his switches is. Also notice how he flows effortlessly down the pool and how his head and lead hand glide continually past lane markers. Like Ian, Catherine hugs the surface as if she were swimming under a very low ceiling. Jennifer has mastered relaxation and ease. Her next focal point will be to slice her hands in a bit earlier. Catherine consistently slices her hand to her 4 o'clock position. Here, Terry shows how to develop a sense of core body rotation rhythm. While his front hand is patient, his rear hand never pauses. Swimming in a gentle current in an endless pool, he simply maintains his switching rhythm to stay in place with barely any effort. This is the best way to develop the economy that's so important in distance swimming. Once more, Joe and Ian show the great benefit of team learning. First, they help each other heighten their sense of having the elbow lead recovery and slicing the hand steep and deep on the entry to help your balance. Then, they gently restrict the wrist from moving past the elbow too early, or, as Ian shows, helping the elbow move forward a bit more. Working with a partner may be the best way to learn the entry timing in zipper switches. Your partner can see where your hand slices down and help achieve a cleaner, more vertical entry of the hand and forearm. Ian uses a light touch to help Joe lead with the elbow a bit longer. That helps Joe understand the feeling he should strive for. The greatest transfer of learning happens when they continue collaborating on multi-zipper switches in shallow water. A touch at the elbow or wrist is all it takes to make the entry while drilling exactly the same as it was while standing in place. Lesson 4 will guide you from fluent drilling to a beautiful new stroke. You'll also learn the best way to fit rhythmic and seamless breathing into your stroke. We'll begin our final lesson with a 3-stage drill that teaches you to balance with a minimum of kicking. This gives distance swimmers and triathletes significant energy savings. First, push off on your stomach, aiming to break out in balance with the back of your head, shoulder blades, and suit surfacing at the same time. Glide as far as you possibly can without kicking, until your legs drop or you stop traveling forward. Repeat until you can't go 1 inch farther. Next, push off and take 1 stroke to put yourself into the skating position. Again, no kicking. Focus on driving the other hand deep to the same position you imprinted in the skating drill. Concentrate on driving your fingertips down. Change arms on the next push-off. Finally, add a zipper skate just after you break out. Again, glide as far as you can without kicking. Do you see how the weight of his zipper arm tips Joe into better balance? This practice should help you feel more balanced and stable than before. If you've got a partner, Work with each other this way. Meet your partner right where he begins zipper skate and help him travel farther by towing. You'll feel amazingly effortless balance with this. When your timing and balance feel impeccable, then add a few switches, after pausing for the briefest moment to feel balance and zipper skate. Joe runs silent and deep here like a nuclear submarine. In our final drill, over switches, we'll take the hand out just barely and slip it right back in with hardly a ripple. Over switches imprint a more balanced and efficient entry. Here's a great example of imaginative, mindful rehearsal. While Joe is an elite swimmer, he still cares about getting the little details just right. In this case, to have a completely relaxed forearm enter the water with surgical skill. You can see how good he feels to get it right. Then he can return to practicing switches with a better sense of his entry. Toby, having just learned this drill, practices super slowly to allow herself time to think about each switch. Catherine, by practicing with fist gloves, achieves an extraordinary level of finesse. She cuts a hole with her knuckles just in front of her head and slips her whole arm cleanly through that hole. A good way to learn this efficient entry is with an exercise we call ear hops. As you see Terry doing here, try to hop your hand over your ear and drop it right back in. Your goal is to have your hand out of the water for the briefest possible time and to clear the water by the slightest margin. Feel your entry this way. Cut a hole in the water with your fingertips and slip your entire arm cleanly through that hole. Slice your hand in silently and drive it below your head. The more switches you can do before going to sweet spot, the more deeply you'll imprint this. After the entry comes the propulsive part of your stroke. Focus almost entirely on what happens in front of your shoulders. Propulsive force comes from the hand entering. To add power to your stroke, don't push back harder. Slice the other hand in with more energy. Then be patient on the catch. Try to trap a large volume of water inside your arm. Feel as if you're scooping pudding before you stroke. You can improve your feel for a solid catch with a stretch cord exercise. First, Terry helps Mark keep his elbow stationary as he presses his hand back. Then Mark continues on his own. Just rehearse the first few degrees of movement. When you get it right, you'll feel the muscles behind your shoulder being activated. When you really feel early pressure on your hand and forearm, take it to the water. Our final partnered exercise will help you catch all the water at the very beginning of your stroke. Hold your partner's feet for several strokes, allowing the legs to move naturally with body roll. After release, take 5 or 6 relaxed strokes to cultivate the same feeling of early pressure that you felt while being held back. This exercise can also improve your feel for how the kick helps trigger body roll, as each downbeat drives the opposite hip down and your opposite hand forward. Don't emphasize pushing back to your knee. Notice the C-shaped finish that allows the elbow to easily lift the hand from the water. The final skill is to fit seamless breathing into your core body rolling rhythm. Here's how you can do it. At first, breathe in frequently as Catherine does, so you can make each breath an examined action. You get the breath by rolling right to where the air is and back the other way without a hitch. When your body rolls to the air, your head goes along for the ride. If your body rolls freely, it's easy to keep the head aligned as you breathe. The water flows over the back of Terry's head between breaths. His head creates a bow wave as he rolls that gives him all the air he needs. The key is to use your body roll to make that happen. If you've gotten stuck on breathing, these drills will help you. Push off into skating position. Then, grab several quick bites of air without rolling to sweet spot. After a few practice bites, then try one stroke cycle with a regular breath. Next, do as Jennifer shows here, alternating one luxurious pause in sweet spot with one rhythmic breath. Toby, who is also learning rhythmic breathing for the first time, progresses to 2 rhythmic breaths followed by 1 in sweet spot. She has brief pauses but is moving toward a seamless rhythm. Here, Jen does the same exercise. Her 2 consecutive rhythmic breaths show a real ease and flow. If you add 1 rhythmic breathing cycle at a time, you'll always practice control, never practice struggle. And here's Ian doing the same exercise. The next step would be 3 rhythmic breaths followed by 1 in sweet spot. Never fall into the trap of practicing struggle. Practice only what you can do well. If you do triathlons or swim in open water, much of your breathing should be no different than what you practiced in the pool. Breathe with your rhythmic body roll. Just keep in mind to roll all the way to where the air is. In higher waves or chop, just roll farther. When you need to navigate, the key skill is to look, then breathe without interrupting your rhythm, and hug the surface as you do. Terry skims his goggles just over the water, takes a snapshot view, then breathes as he finishes his roll to the side. You'll save time and energy by maintaining your normal stroke and breath rhythm as you sight. And don't forget that you've always got your sweet spot. Anytime you need a bit of rest, just roll to sweet spot for a few extra breaths, then resume normal breathing. Let's go back to the pool to learn the 2 freestyle turns. The open turn gives you plenty of air, allowing you a longer, stronger push-off. Remain sideways as you turn to minimize resistance as you rock back. Notice how Terry rocks his head straight back and drops his left hand behind his ear to prepare for push-off. Underwater, he tucks his legs tightly to reduce resistance, drops back sideways, uses his right hand to help pull his body under, puts one hand atop the other as he reaches a horizontal position on his side, and squeezes into streamline as he pushes off and rotates. The flip turn is faster, but it's essential to do it economically to avoid oxygen debt. Approach the wall in a straight line, somersault straight over, then leave the wall on the same straight line. Rotate after your somersault so you can push off on your side. Make your turn easier and faster by keeping your heels as close to the surface as possible and hitting the wall with as little noise and splash as you can. Terry initiates his somersault by tucking his chin and trying to bring his nose to his knees. His hands meet overhead as his feet land at the right depth for a horizontal push-off. Then he pushes off on his side and strokes the bottom arm first. Fast swimming should be an exercise in keeping the same form you have at lower speeds. Fast looks different for a 26-year-old sprinter like Joe than it does for a 52-year-old distance swimmer like Terry. but they both maintain a long, smooth stroke and propel with core body rotation. And Terry shows the same connection of timing, smooth whole body movement, and absence of turbulence when practicing at slow speeds, and when he practices the speed and tempo he uses while racing. If you've followed the TI Freestyle program, before long you'll be able to swim any distance in any body of water. These may be your happiest laps of all. Enjoy!